making sure that whatever we're doing is not at the expense of someone else.
You know what I mean?
It's like you want to act in a way that doesn't cost anyone else anything.
Exactly.
Right? You don't want to
that's
make,
exactly what I was trying to say.
Yeah, you don't want to make someone pay for what you behave as. Right? You'd never want that. And because none of us want to be in that situation.
No.
And I think that's what we disconnect with. And one of the things I had to learn is to learn to stop judging people who judge others.
Yeah.
So I had the judgment of people who judge, and I'd be like, well, you should stop judging. And I'm like, wait a minute, that is a judgment.
That's a
right?
judgment.
Like, that's a judgment. And so it's like, okay, well, let me meet that person with compassion.
And understanding. Because we understand it.
Because I do it.
Yeah. And we can't judge. We only have to, like, you know, at least I can only speak for myself. Like, I've learned to just stop judging people and realize we're all humans. If we weren't here to learn something, or if we were perfect, we wouldn't even be here. We would already be on our next on the next wave of, you know, existence or whatever comes next, you know?
Absolutely. What's been the most recent thing? You were talking about learning life's lessons. What do you think's been the most recent life lesson, big or small, that's come across your path that's kind of stayed with you or been on your mind? I just wonder because, you know, we always talk about learning lessons through life and people think that they have to be these huge, big ones, but sometimes it's just something every day. But what's it been for you? Has there been anything that stood out?
Yeah, to have fun.
Nice, yeah.
To make everything you're doing fun, period. Because we're here for such a limited time. And when we see somebody pass away that's close to us, or someone we idolize, our heroes, our family members, our friends, whatever, just, you know, you got to realize that, okay, I do work, but I need to make this fun, because that is the key to happiness, right? And I feel like that is, to me, the only thing that's real success, is when you're happy. So you got to have fun with whatever you're doing. Like, you have to, and if it's not fun, you got to make it fun, or do something else, you know, even if it pays your bills or anything. Like, you got to, like, if you just approach it like that, I'm telling you, something that may be so depressing to you can completely change. That job you may have been working on, I've been doing this since I was 11 years old, by the way, making music, you know. Wow. And obviously I want to do other things with my life, like, I mean, you were talking, I want to write a book.
I can't wait for that, man.
Yeah, because, you know, I've learned so many lessons, like, from you or from Deepak. You know, I get to sit with Sadhguru, and
from your mother,
my mom especially. I get to sit with Janae. I get to sit with all these amazing, I get to sit with Marie Diamond. I get to sit with a lot of people who know so much. And that I know that it's one of my life purposes to put that information into, you know, and all the experiences I've been through, all the testaments I've seen, all the just magic that I've witnessed in my life. You know, that's the reason I want to write a book. I'm not doing it because, oh, it's a cool thing for your career to do, like, write a book. Like, I feel like I have to write a book because it's like one of my missions for humanity.
I want to read that book, man.
Yeah.
I think it's fascinating hearing about everyone's journey to how they started going inward. Yeah. Right? Like, that's what's fascinating. Yeah. Right? Like, books are always written about the journey outwards. What did you succeed? What did you achieve? Where did you get to? But to me, books that are about the journey inward, we need to tell those stories, because those are the journeys we struggle to take even more. Yeah, and those are the journeys that are a little bit more untold, right? Yes, that unseen. Unseen, that we need to relate to, and especially my people who listen to me. Like, I feel like I really need to do that. But that is one thing I've learned, though, to go back to what you said, is like to have fun with it. Make sure you have fun with it and make it fun. Like, bring whatever you think is fun to whatever you have to do. Like, if you think, well, I think playing video games was fun, well, then bring that to work somehow. Like, figure out a way to, like, incorporate that, or figure out a way to balance that into your life somehow. Like, you can't let go of the fun of anything, because then everything just gets depressing. Yeah. You know, you get wiped out, and you're not even doing a service to anyone at that point. Yeah. And I think that's the interesting thing. It's a simple lesson, though, right? It's but that's what I love about it. Yeah. Because it doesn't have to be this deep, profound lesson. Like, yeah, usually the simple ones are the good ones. Yeah. Like for mine, it's been prioritizing rest. Like, I love prioritizing rest and refuel. Like, one of my favorite things to do. Like, that's something I still have not mastered. Like, deep rest, right? Like, deep rest. Like, letting yourself just have this deep silence, stillness, calmness, whatever gives that to you. I find, like, being able to one of the things I really do enjoy doing, and I think it's fun, and that's why fun is such a wide word, is doing like a sensory deprivation tank.
Oh yeah.
So like when I'm sitting in a sensory deprivation tank, and you can't, all my senses are off.
Yeah.
It's actually a beautiful experience for me. That's deep rest, and that is fun for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm no longer like dealing with any of the challenges or stresses or pressures. I'm able to just be. Yeah, so inside it's magnesium in water,
so
you naturally float.
Mm-hmm.
For anyone who's never done it before, you can go in there for half an hour, 2
and
hours.
Black. It's pitch black.
Dark. Yeah, it's dark. Yeah. Some of them, if they're a bit bougie, they have the
lights,
the lights and the music, like a little bit of
moody lights and things.
Yeah, moody lights, moody music. But the idea is to just not let your senses be triggered, and I find that's what I crave, is letting my senses no longer be overexposed or overstimulated. One of my favorite things to do is look out into the distance, to watch sunsets, to watch the sunrise, to just look at the sky, because I find it's the least overstimulating thing in our lives. When you look at your phone, you're overstimulated.
Right.
You switch on the news, you're overexposed. Everything's overwhelming.
You got to take that time for yourself.
Correct. I love to do anything that helps me understand myself, that helps me underwhelm myself, you know, that helps me
unwind,
unwind myself. That's what I crave, and I've realized that that's my reward to myself.
It's not just a luxury that's necessary.
It's a part of richness.
It's a part of richness. Success. It is, and I think that the mentality that I've experienced and that I've always had is like, you have to like stay on it. You have to stay on it, like, and almost to a point where I feel like I didn't deserve rest sometimes. I didn't deserve it. Like, I'm not almost finished with my stuff. I got to keep going. I can't, but that was totally that was me coming from a place of desperation and not a place of knowing and having faith, because, rest is one of the many joys of our life, man. Going to sleep, having that good sleep. Like those, and by the way, that's the moment. A lot of times when we're in that deep sleep, though, those are the moments that a lot of visions and a lot of inspiration and a lot of ideas are transmuted to us, and we're just a vessel. So that we sometimes we go to a higher place when we're sleeping, and are at our most relaxed state, right? So I have been learning to get rest. I go to sleep kind of weird times, especially when I'm making music. Like I'll go to sleep at like 3 or 4 in the morning, which is terrible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it is nothing like getting some good rest, man. Nothing like it.
But what you just said,
you deserve it, and people deserve it. People think that they don't deserve rest, or they work 2 jobs and all these things. Like, you deserve that rest, man. And like, longevity is better than anything. You can burn yourself out and go double shifts, triple shifts, don't need sleep, only need 2-3 hours of sleep, all that. Get your rest, man. Get that rest. Get as much rest as you need, because when you're fully rested, that's when you can really make real waves in whatever industry or whatever dream you have, or whatever thing you got going on, Yeah,
I was actually just about to say that. I think that's the most powerful thing you said there, as you were sharing that, the idea that we don't give ourselves permission for things we don't deserve. So we don't give ourselves the permission to rest if we don't feel we deserve rest. And a lot of us don't feel we deserve rest. We don't feel we deserve fun. We don't feel we deserve joy. And so we don't allow ourselves to have that feeling. And as you were saying that, and you used that word deserve, I was like, I just want everyone to stop, everyone who's listening right now to this episode or watching this episode, to just stop and think, what are you not feeling like you deserve?
Yeah, people feel like they might not deserve real love. I don't deserve a partner. I don't deserve the rest. I don't deserve to go out and have fun. I haven't been getting enough work done. Like, that's all crazy. None of that stuff is connected to each other, man. Like, take care of yourself first and foremost, and watch how more beautiful your life unfolds.
Absolutely. I want to ask you something though, on the flip side of that, I've been thinking about recently this idea of how do you do things that are good for you even when you don't feel like it? Because you don't always feel like doing things that are actually good for you.
Right.
And so we try and avoid them because of how we feel right now.
Right.
How do you find yourself doing that with the gym, with meditation, with everything that you're saying, whether it's in the studio? How have you been able to go and get over that initial feeling of, I don't want to meditate today, or I don't want to sleep early today, or I don't want to work out today? How do you work through that voice in your head?
When it comes to self-care, it's not this, you can set a schedule, but there are times where you're going to have to wake up earlier. You're going to have to get right to something, right? You're going to have to maybe meditate later on in the day. You may not even get a chance to, but that's the beauty of, first of all, that's the beauty of the short meditations that me and you went over, like the 2-minute meditations, right? It doesn't have to be 15 minutes where, you know, because I do things where I like write my goals down. I do this. I write my intentions for the day. I meditate for 15, 20 minutes. Then I sip my tea. You know, I take time. I take an hour to myself. And a lot of times I don't always have that, right? Sometimes I do it later in the day when I do have time. And the days that I don't have time to do that, I'll be like, well, I'm at least going to do this. There's a bare minimum. And even if it's a 2 or 3 minute meditation, or to be honest with you, there have been days where I was completely exhausted and did nothing. And honestly, I deserved those days. You know, there are days where you turn your phone. I had a day that, like not too long ago, where I put my phone in the drawer. I had to leave it. I didn't pick it back up till like midnight. And when I was about to go to sleep, and I didn't go to the studio that day. I didn't do anything. I just needed time to myself. You have to listen to yourself. And when you listen to yourself, you have to ask, well, why don't I feel like doing this? Why? Who doesn't want to take care of themselves, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe you just need some time to just be lazy, man. That's okay.
Yeah.
That is okay. But it's the fact that you know better. When you know better, you're already headed in the right direction. Yeah. So when you don't take care of yourself, right? When you don't work out or you don't meditate, you're going to be like, oh man, I feel like I should have kind of, you know, yeah. And it'll eventually get you right back on track if you're a disciplined person, right? Yeah. So, which I advise people to try and be disciplined with the things that give you joy. You know,
those two things you don't feel like they go together, but that's beautiful.
Yeah, but you got to remember, having fun is a serious thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is. You got to be serious about your fun.
That is actually it.
Yeah.
We got there. That was the idea of how you strike that balance.
Yeah.
You got to be disciplined about your joy. Fun is a serious thing.
For sure, man.
And I think that's what we lose. We go, no, fun just needs to be completely random. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, joy needs to be completely random.
Yeah.
But no, it's that concentrated, focused creation and development of that.
Yeah.
That builds in our life. At this point in your life, you know, we talked about this last time. We talked about your journey. We talked about where you got to, the reflection you had, the mountain you climbed, and then looked around and was like, well, is this it? Like this, you know.
Yeah.
At this point in your life, what have your new dreams, heart space been like? Like what's been going on in your heart and mind about who you want to be and what you want to do and what you want to create?
Man, I've really just been like, okay, how can I impact the world at this point? Because I'm in a position, right? I have a platform. I've done a lot of things I wanted to do musically, right? I've experienced like so many beautiful things. And I remember all I wanted was a song on the radio, right? But I didn't limit myself to that, right? By just being so specific. I always was like, I want a song, whatever else I can get, you know, whatever else comes with that. And so lately I've just been thinking, how can I impact the world? How can I use my platform to change the world and look back and be like, wow, that was something that meant something. That's something that my grandkids can look at and say, man, granddad really did that, you know, and make that impact to people or listeners or anyone that's tuned into my frequency. You know what I mean? How can I impact them? How can I make the best use of this opportunity, this life I have, this body I have? That's kind of where my motivation has been at. So I put that into my music. I put that into, okay, we're getting my book together. I put that into since these COVID restrictions are up, it's kind of like, how do I want to see people live? What experience?
And you're being at Coachella this year.
Yeah, Coachella's coming up. Yeah, like what experience do I want to give people?
Yeah.
And also to not take away from what makes me happy. And, that's being with the people I love, just figuring out how we can change the world and aligning my people, my team with that. And, I'm looking forward to just living life. I'm looking forward to starting a family at the right time.
All right, okay.
Yeah, and just...
We got to time that.
Yeah, we got... It's all on God's time.
Sync up. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, relationships are deep, boy. They are deep. But that is to me, like, where I'm at in my life. You know what I mean? I'm not really trying. I'm not in the same place I was when I was a teenager, when I was in my 20s. I'm in a whole different way of, okay, how can I impact the world?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With the opportunity that I've been given, with this platform I've been given.
Yeah. And that's such a brilliant acceptance, because for so many people, when they get up the first mountain, it becomes about the second mountain, and then the third mountain, and then the fourth mountain, and they just keep climbing mountains, and it doesn't change how they feel. And so for you to already have that realization and go, the real mountain I want to climb is the impact and the service and the joy and the happiness. That's a beautiful thing. And we were talking about this earlier offline, but about relationships. And your relationships, obviously with Janae, was something that you've been investing in.
Yeah.
Like sure. It's been a commitment. It's been an investment. Obviously, we've spent time together, and she's been an amazing guest on the show as well. And I actually met her first before I met you.
Yeah. And she was the one who told me, like, you gotta meet.
And she's incredible. And when I found out you two were together, I was like, this makes so much sense. But walk me through, whatever you feel comfortable with, walk me through some of the journeys in what it's meant to create a conscious partnership, and what's the real work that goes behind that. Because we all have our baggage and our trauma and our issues from our past relationships, our parents, so many things. What's gone into crafting and what you're trying to craft?
Wow, that's really deep too. About, let's make sure we touch back on like traumas and things that we inherit from our parents. Because we inherit. I'll do that. We'll talk about that now. Then I can go to that. Like, one of the things I've had to do in my life is clear some of the blockages that I've had, and all in different ways, all through different people. And that's something that I may want to get more detailed in with people too, because people are going to say, well, how do I clear these blockages within me? And there are many, many ways, and many people that I've met with that have been able to, help me. And I used to have a worriment of money, was one of them. Just like you can inherit your parents' hair, or you can inherit their eyes, or you can inherit their, I remember my dad used to be like, oh, I used to smile just like you did. It's like you can inherit a smile. You can also inherit someone's fears. You can also inherit someone's beliefs that aren't in alignment with, your own, and you feel very conflicted. You can inherit you can inherit pain. You can inherit racism, and you could be like, well, I'm not a racist person, but I know someone who's like, bro, I'm not a racist person, but then they call every black person a kid. It's good. That's a good kid. And I'm like, you got to watch yourself a little bit, man. That's like, just pay attention to that, because you don't refer to people who look like you as a kid. And so you might refer to somebody who's a kid that's the same age, almost the same age as you, so it's like you inherit these things, you may not even realize it, right? And it's important to just do the work on yourself, because to push the next, it's like also breaking generational curses. It's like, I broke one of the blockages I had, and now my family, we are getting more of our dreams out. My mom is doing things that she never thought she would do. My dad, my brother, we grew up in debt essentially, and I had to break that. That was one of the blocks I had to break, was the block of money, of not be scared to have money, feel like there's a scarcity of money, and it's not. It's all just energy, right? And you can have as much energy as needed, and to clear all these blocks. But to get back to my point, it is so important to go through these blocks and these traumas, because when you pass it on to not only just the next generation, you pass it on to the people around you, your friends, your family. You are the company you keep. And the more like-minded and better you are, the better everyone around you is, including your family, right? And you guys can have the opportunity to do anything that is possible, anything you want, any empire, any business, any ownership, things that you didn't even know was imaginable, but it all starts with you working on yourself. And that's the importance of, you know, the traumas. It's almost like, well, why would I want to correct, you know, if cancer runs in our family, breast cancer runs in our family, why would I want to correct that? Well, you want to correct that so you don't pass it on. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the vibration of cancer is a low vibration. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's important to take care of ourselves and get rid of that trauma. But okay.
That was beautiful. I'm so glad you went there.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you went there, because the idea of being aware of what we're inheriting is so important, especially when you went that we are aware of, we inherit what we wear and how we think and how we look, but then how we behave, how we communicate, how we talk to people, how we think about people, how we think about women, how we think about men, how we think about...
Oh, that's a good one. How you think about women and men. Yeah. You know, that's another thing.
Or them, how you think about trans, how you think about LGBTQ, just how we think about other. Mm-hmm. I'm so glad you went there. I just wanted to say that. I'm so happy you took us on that.
Yeah. I can just imagine like aliens or people from another world being like, man, these people really trip that they have different shades of... skin. They really be like,
it's just,
they really kill each other over this. Like, you know, I've never seen a cow look at another cow and be like, you're a brown cow, you're a black and white cow, I don't want to be around you. Like, nah, they don't. It's like, you know, and it makes me realize that like if we kill each other and hate each other over things like that, or who we love, right, or things that even have nothing to do with us, then I wonder how we would handle an extraterrestrial or an alien, or really something that is really different. Like, you know, I'm like, maybe that's why the government or whoever doesn't ever want to really break it to humanity, because how are we going to react, you know? But that's a whole nother conversation. Well, I wanted to ask you something about relationships, because you go through times where you don't see your wife all the time. And how important is distance in a relationship? You know, because I know some people may feel guilty, like not being with their partner all the time, or maybe even enjoying time away. You know, that could be a guilt thing, like, oh man, I'm really having a good time by myself, or also spending too much time with your partner and losing a sense of who you are and your individual self. So I look at your relationship, you guys are a beautiful couple, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that and idolizing that or anything, but that's just me making you know, recognizing that.
Yeah, as my friend. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you balance the distance in your relationship, and is that necessary?
Yeah, I think for us, and I agree with you, by the way, like there is no such thing as a perfect couple, perfect marriage, perfect relationship. So we should remove that idolization. Just with everything, just as we were talking about earlier. I've found that, I'll take a bit of a detour, but I find that as humans, we like to idolize or we like to demonize. So we demonize people. Ooh, we go, you are terrible, you're wrong, you're the worst. Or we go, you're the best, I love you and I adore you. And sometimes the people we idolize become the same people we demonize when they let us down.
All the time.
And so we don't have this ability, which what we talked about as monks was neutralized. How do you just neutralize everything and look at it for what it is, and look at it for the reality of it, rather than idolize or demonize it? Just learn to accept. So when I look at my relationship, we found that when we first got married, I'd say in the first 2 years of our marriage, so my wife and I have been married for 6 years, and next year we will have been together for 10 years. So we've been together for 9 years now in total. And the first 2 years of our marriage, I reckon we spent in total 6 to 8 months apart in 2 years. And the reason for that was because my wife missed her family in London. We'd moved to New York because of my career.
Right.
And I wanted her to be with her family, to be happy. But I also wanted to be in New York so that I could build my career and build my purpose.
Right.
And so that became...
Which is all valid.
Which is all valid.
Right.
She wanted to be with her family, which I respect and love. And I wanted to be here. And I said to her, I will fly back every weekend, every month if I have to, if that's what's going to keep this marriage together. Because I don't think you should give up what you care about. And I'm not going to give up what I care about. We both should not give up what we care about the most because we care about each other.
Can you, oh my God, see, one of the things, I'm not to cut you off, but people always say, oh, you have to give things, you have to sacrifice so much, you have to let go. Like, no, you can't sacrifice yourself to the point where it's torture. You know, you can't sacrifice yourself to where you're not yourself anymore. You know what I mean? And that's really important. Not to cut you off, I just wanted to add that in there.
Dude, everything you just added, I'm like, that, because that's the fine line. You just gave the fine line of you can't compromise when compromise becomes torture. Mm-hmm. Compromise is healthy. Everyone has to compromise. I may cancel a dinner, or I may reschedule my weekend. Like, that's compromise. That's
just being in tune with yourself.
That's just, exactly. Mm. But you just defined it perfectly. Like, you can't, sacrifice does not lead. If I gave up the pursuit of my purpose in New York, I would have been sad, depressed, and tortured, using your words. Yeah. And if my wife was kept away from her family and couldn't travel back to see them because I didn't want her to, because she had to be with me in New York, she would have been tortured and trapped. I don't want that as my loving relationship.
No, that's not a union.
Exactly, that's not a union. And so what we found is that we got used to it, but we've got better at it. Mm-hmm. So at that time, we got used to it, but what happened is we would really disconnect. This was a mistake. We would really disconnect. Mm-hmm. We would barely talk, barely check in. And then when we'd get back together, it almost felt like we were strangers again.
Wow.
And so it wasn't good or bad. I just think we had to get better. Like, today it's changed. Yeah. And so I just want to put that out there, that when we first got married and we did that, I don't think we had the healthiest version of distance. Mm-hmm. And this is my point, that you can evolve and grow and learn. And then it was COVID, right? So during the pandemic, we lived together for 2 years and we saw each other every day. And that was amazing. It was actually brilliant, because that was the first time in our lives that we'd spent every day together for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And it was beautiful. We loved it. And now, this year, I will have been away from my wife when she finally gets back. But she's been working in London. I've been in LA, where we currently both live. But we would have been apart for around 4 months. And maybe we've seen each other once in 4 months, hopefully. Yeah. We'll go on this mini vacation together. I feel this time we've both found a healthier way of being distant. So she's in London because she's working and that's her purpose. I'm in LA because that's where my purpose is. Again, I respect her purpose and she respects mine. I value her values and she values mine. And if I had to give up mine and be there for 4 months, or she had to give up hers and be here for 4 months, I wouldn't feel happy because I know she's not happy. And she wouldn't feel happy because she knows I'm not happy. So what we've realized is that in the times we're apart, we can both be more productive. We get to catch up with our own friends and deepen those bonds and connection because we both have more time. Yeah. I find that I miss her every day. I have never texted my wife this much since we were dating. I haven't called her this much since we were dating, because now it's like I wake up in the morning, the first person I call is her. I don't do that. She's next to me, right? Right. The last thing at night, I know she's already asleep in London, but I'm messaging her messages so that when she wakes up in the morning, they're the first thing she sees. Yeah. It adds a beautiful dynamic. And there's something really beautiful in the Bhakti tradition, which is based on love and devotion to the universe, the divine. And it talks about how love in connection is beautiful, but love in separation is one of the most beautiful experiences. To want to be back with your beloved and the person that you love, that's what all the songs are about.
Yeah, that's what all the songs are about.
That's what all the music's about. Like the missing of someone, the yearning of someone, the separation from a loved one is sometimes where you get to experience the deepest joy and even process some of your biggest fears and weaknesses. And that's what I find, that when I'm away from my wife, I have to process my weaknesses and my fears head on. Yeah. And that I find to be joyful because it deepens my love for her. And so I personally find that distance and personal time is critical. And the way I define it for someone in a week, because someone may say, well, Jay, we don't work like you guys where we're away from each other for months because we live in the same home. We don't have careers that take us across the world. I believe, and I've been planning this out, that here's an ideal 7-day week. Right? Yeah. You should ideally spend 1 to 2 days by yourself, with yourself. Even if you're married, even if you're dating, have 2 nights a week that are for you.
Mm-hmm. Even if you're in the same house.
Same house. Have 2 nights a week
places.
separate that is for you to listen to your inner voice. Mm-hmm. That's 2 nights a week. Mm-hmm. Now have 2 nights that are together, just you two. Date nights, experiments, events, whatever it is, but just you two, so that you develop and you water your intimacy. That's 4 nights. And you've got 3 nights left. In those other 3 nights, 1 night you spend with your own friends. So she's with her friends, I'm with my friends. And then the other 2 nights we're with a collective group of friends that we share. Now you can make your own ratio of your 7 days, but notice how the ideal 7 days include time alone, time with each other, time with your own friends and family, and time with collective friends and family. If we can't look at our lives and say we do all of those, it means we're not watering a really important part of our relationships. If I don't water myself, I've got nothing
That's
to give.
That's going to come up later. Yeah. And that you're going to feel is hurting you. What you're talking from is from experience. I can see like, this isn't like a textbook formula. This is some experience that you guys have been through and that you made it through. So I respect that. And I realize that, the crazy thing about being in a relationship and having distance between you is it really can bring you closer to the one that you're missing. It kind of is almost, I would say, almost a great test to see how close you really are. You know what I mean? Because being so far from someone can bring you so much closer. You can learn so much about someone, through texting them or through the phone, as opposed to waking up next to them every day. So I think it's beautiful to give each other that time apart. And that's when you really know when that person is still all you want. That's who that's special for, and I definitely have been able to experience that. So that's a beautiful thing, and it's a key part in any relationship. I think in any marriage, the key to it is having some distance between, you know what I mean? And and having someone who you energetically match with.
Yes.
One thing that's the most important thing. That's the most important thing right there. Because this is funny because I don't know how to even say this. Say this properly. Or I don't know, whatever, but I'm going to just say, like, when you have sex with someone who you feel you guys are equally energetically on the same level, that's how it's really supposed to be, right? Because in other ways, I just hope people realize that, because if you're not with someone who you energetically feel like you're on the same level with, then that person could be taken away from you. It could throw you off track. It could uninspire you. It could do all these crazy things. So it's important to realize the power of that energy that you have when you're with somebody who can match your energy sexually. No,
absolutely. And I'm so glad you raised that, because so the Sanskrit word for celibacy is brahmacharya. Now, celibacy in the Western world sounds like abstaining from sex. That's what you think of the word celibacy. Brahmacharya, it translates as the proper use or direction of energy. When you talk about a poor energy exchange, when you're just wasting energy, when there isn't an equal energetic exchange,
right?
That's why we feel drained. We feel depleted. We feel,
or afterwards you're like, oh, this is a waste of my time, or
totally,
like, however you feel, like
many years later it takes. And, but when you have someone of equal energy exchange, that impression is so much more powerful and deeper. And so I'm glad you brought that up, because I guess the question though is like, obviously when you meet someone, we're all at different stages, even in our vibrational energy.
Right.
How do you know? Because today we live in a world where anyone can use the language. Everyone can say the word energy.
Right.
Everyone can use the word vibration.
Right.
Everyone can use all the lingo. And you think, oh yeah, this person, like they've been reading about chakras and right? How do you actually know that someone is of a similar energy in a relationship? Like how do you look for that? Because, and I don't think there's a formula or there's a perfect science. I'm just saying, how do you look for that, or how have you found that and looked for that?
It's only one way: feeling it. It's simple as that. It's something you feel. And you have to really be in tune with yourself, right? That's another reason why working on yourself is so important, because the more you're in tune with yourself, the more you're able to feel like this isn't right. And it could make sense in a lot of other ways. You could be like, oh, this person is my ideal of like the perfect person in my head, you know, like physically, but it just doesn't, well, I don't care. Like you disregard those feelings when you put that egotistical spin on things, right? Or you put the like the image or like the expectations or things, check marks you think you should be hitting, but it's really just a feeling process. And when you realize, you know, when you have the feeling of that feeling like you're being productive, you know, like I'm not ever gonna like physically be involved with anyone if it's not productive, you know. And I feel like I'm being productive, you know what I mean? And that's how you should feel with your partner. Like you feel like you're being productive, you know, and you feel like you have a good feeling about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anything else is just kind of like, you know, you think that you may and fun.
Yeah.
And fun. And it's fun.
Yeah.
You know, if it's not fun, productive, and all these things, and, you know, if you feel weird or feel like you're wasting your time afterwards, and that's probably not right for you, you know, and you can eventually kid yourself for a little while, but eventually you're going to move on or something's going to happen, and, you know.
Yeah. I think one of the things I look for in energy exchange in every level is the idea of, you know, it's almost like how long have your energies been invested together deeply? When my career started to take off, I would often point to an achievement and look at my wife and say, love me for this. Look at what I did. And then I'd win another award and I'd be like, look at this, like love me for this. And she wouldn't feel anything. She wouldn't respect me for, like, she wouldn't care about that. Not that she wouldn't respect me. She wouldn't care about that.
She wouldn't care about that.
And
she would be happy for you.
She'd be happy for me, but she didn't care about that. She didn't love me for that. But I was saying, validate me for this, love me for this. And then I realized that I was trying to get her to love me for what my achievements are when she loved me for who I am.
Isn't that beautiful?
Like that was the most deepest reminder to me that my wife's been with me since when I was in $25,000 worth of debt. When we were 4 months away from being broke, when I was pursuing my purpose and no one cared, and I had 5 people turn up to hear me speak. And my wife's been through all of that, and she loved me then and she loves me now, but she's never been enamored by the achievements or the successes. She has always exchanged energy with me on the level of she loves who I am. So she had to love me that way to remind myself to love myself that way. And I think that's what I look at as energy exchange is, does someone remind me to love myself through how they love me? Like, does the way they love me remind me to love myself for the real reasons? And that, you know, that is just undefeatable. Like that you can't beat. That's the champion of love. Because you're like, you're teaching me how to love myself based on what I actually should love myself for.
Man, that's again talking from experience.
It's real. Like I've been that man that has wanted the validation of my wife for my medals and my honors. And when she didn't give it to me, I felt frustrated. Because I felt, well, I can get more attention from somewhere else for these things. But then you go, but then do I want attention or do I want affection? Like, do I want validation or do I want someone to value me?
Right? Validation is conditional.
It's conditional, man.
It can come and go quick. It's like it wears off. It's like a new sweater or something, right? Like you have to eventually wash it and it starts to deteriorate. And as opposed to loving someone for who they are, that's more like unbreakable, right? That's absolutely. Like that. Undefeated. Yeah.
Sean, what have I not asked you today? What's been on your mind, your heart? Where have we not gone? Because I feel like, I know it's hard to say this, but I really do believe this. Because the last time we were getting to know each other, where we've gone today,
we've gone to some places.
We have gone to some places today. Like, as in, this is without a doubt, even though it's hard to say this, it's even better than the first conversation because of our openness. Because we have a relationship, a deeper relationship today. And so what the places we've gone to and the things you've said today, I'm going to have to listen back to this one.
Keep doing what you're doing, man. Like, the job you're doing is fantastic. Like, I tune into so many of your interviews. I loved your book. I can't wait to have you write the foreword on my book. You know what I'm saying?
I'm in.
And just to everyone listening, man, you know, I know you're going through whatever you're going through. Just do the best you can. Stay strong. Don't give up on yourself. You know, there's no losing. You know, you can maybe think you're losing, but you only lose when you stop. You know what I mean? There's no such thing as losing if you don't stop. It's only just learning and like developing and getting that experience and wiser. You know, you're just sharpening the sword, being more of a master. So, you know, stay strong. And everyone, I know some people don't know where they're going to even sleep tonight. Some people are going through a real crisis in their life. And just know that I'm not just saying this to be politically correct or anything. Like, I really am sending you guys love. I really am sending you guys like some light, and you know that miracles can happen in your life, and you accept that. You know, accept your miracle, because they happen every day. And yeah, thank you. You know, it's I don't know what else. There's new music.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, new stuff coming out, and yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I mean, everyone, make sure you go and subscribe across all of Big Sean's platforms, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook, Spotify, Apple, wherever you're listening. Look out for him at Coachella this year. New music is dropping right now. Is music dropping around the birthday as well?
I don't know around the birthday, but probably more so around Coachella.
Okay, around Coachella.
Yeah,
okay,
I'm thinking I got some new music. I'm trying to see if I'm gonna like preview it there or put it out right before.
Got it.
You know, figure it out. We're figuring it out. Me and Janae have new music coming too together. So our 2088 project. And
we can talk about that more deeply if you want to go into it. Or you want to give him a preview.
That's maybe me and her could come and do a special one.
I would love that. Oh, that would be sick. Let's do that.
Or maybe all four of us. That would be great.
Would love that. Let's do that. That'd be so dope.
That's another time, but because I don't want to speak for her.
Yes.
You know, that's our thing together. But I can just let people know that it's coming. And what else? I mean, you know, just keep doing it. And thanks for all the love on the last one. I gotta say thank you for the love on the last podcast we did. It was crazy. And man, congrats to you. Mental health on the men's health magazine. Is it? It's Men's Health, right?
Yeah, it's Men's Health. Yeah.
Men's Health magazine. That's major, bro.
Well, bro, it's just
changing
amazing.
The whole narrative.
Doing it with you is amazing. Like, I think, you know, you said that what we're doing is amazing here, but this is energizing. Yeah. Like, this is energy exchange at its highest level, because you keep me going too, man. Like, having this relationship with you and having these conversations with you, that energizes me. It affirms my belief in what I'm trying to do. Yeah. And so
I see like billboards of you everywhere and stuff, like Calm app. I'm like, yo, Jay is going crazy right now. Will Smith, man, that was a crazy moment that had to be.
That was working with him has been one of the greatest.
Isn't he great?
Greatest joys of my life. Yeah. He's one of the most special human beings as a in the world, and just
he's anointed. He's like has a glow on him, right? Yeah, he really does. Shout out Will.
And it's real. Like he's, you know, him and the whole family, just amazing.
No, you can tell he's like human.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And keep up the great work, man. I'll see you next time.
Thank you, man. Everyone who's been watching at home, what I want you to do, like you did last time, is show up on Twitter and Instagram, tag us on what resonated with you, what connected with you. There were so many incredible nuggets of wisdom today that Sean dropped, and we went back and forth and we grappled with, and then you saw our thought pattern, and then we finally got there. Yeah. Like there was like this whole journey that we went on today, and we hope that this conversation inspires conversations back at home. When I started making content, my whole goal was I wanted to create stuff that you could send to your friend and say, this is what we were talking about last night.
Yeah.
Like, this is what we're thinking about. And I wanted to create something for you that helped you have deeper, more meaningful conversations with your friends that you might not always get to have. So I hope that this starts millions of conversations around the world that deepen your bond with your friends, your loved ones, that allow you to have more compassion and love for each other and the world. And ultimately, as Sean's been saying the whole time today, allow ourselves to not judge, to really understand that everyone's going through something. So thank you for listening to On Purpose. Thank you to our main man, Big Sean, for turning up today. New music, Coachella, so much more.